Welcome to the Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Josh Kimmel, Dave Campbell, and Justin Bowerly.
Welcome to Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Josh, and tonight is the very special award show, the long-waited for award show. Most of these people, these websites, these content creators, they've already put them out with no thought. We thought we had to think about this. We're giving you correct, right answers for the fantasy awards, and we have a special guest, and we have a legend, a living legend amongst us tonight. So let's bring him on in here. We got Justin Bowerly, of course, with me. And then not the person I was expecting. But I was expecting this guy, Dirtbag Dave. What's going on, dude?
That's awful.
I'm back. You can never get rid of me.
Dave, first off, this is a night show, which we don't have night shows anymore. We've moved to noon where it's much cleaner. The nightlife, man, we just can't handle it. None of us.
It's 2 PG, guys. It's 2 PG.
Dude, we have one night show and we're 20 minutes late. So
yeah, 20 minutes late. We brought
it's not my fault. It's not my. Don't blame me.
Justin didn't have his graphics ready. Dave didn't have his headphones charged. It was just a peak OUS. But yes, we have an awesome award show lined up for you tonight. We have a bunch of categories, and we have a moderator. Yes, we're going to be arguing or debating who we think our winner is for each category. There's no duplicate people. We had to pick each individual person for this award, and we're going to be fighting it out. So let's bring in our host, our moderator, Topher. Oh, there he is. There he is.
Uh-oh, he's muted too.
I think
there he is.
I think
he's on.
Hi. Hello. I think this is my 4th time on the show. And this is the first time I've ever been on the show with all of you before. I think this might actually be the first time I've been on the show with Dave as well. Also, if my voice sounds an octave lower, that's a complete optical, actually audible illusion. You're hallucinating. Please go see your doctor immediately, or your psychiatrist, or your local witch. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for agreeing to moderate us and judge us and tell us who wins and who loses in this competition. Dave, I love that he's back on because he brings the charm to the show. Everyone loves Dave. Everyone's a big fan favorite of Dave. I think he's probably going to sweep the awards tonight. Just to be honest, I think he's going to.
No, most people hate me. What are you talking about? Let's be real.
Man, our ratings are people are asking for you. Justin did a Reddit Ask Me Anything. And somebody specifically asked, when is Dirtbag Dave coming back? I promise you.
It had to be one of 3 people. Like, I swear it had to be one of 3. It had to be either Josh Kimmel, Josh Wingate, or Dave Campbell.
It wasn't me because I don't use Reddit. I've never used Reddit in my life, so it wasn't me.
Me either. I would never go on Reddit.
So I have to ask, is that what skull means, dirtbag? Because as a Packers fan, I'm pretty sure that's what it means, right?
Listen, Packers fans are the worst, so now I know you're here. We got to get rid of this guy. Can we get rid of him, please?
Hold on. We're not the worst. We're not the worst. There are Cowboys fans out there that we can all equally hate.
Nobody cares about the Cowboys. They're irrelevant.
I know. That's why it's fun to hate them.
I think you guys can both agree on this. And Dave, we talked about this. These Lion fans coming out of the woodwork.
They've become the worst right now recently, which is why watching them lose was amazing. Because they got awfully cocky really quickly.
Yes, they did. So we do have some other stuff coming after the award show. We're going to have a big announcement. If you watch the wrestling show I host on Saturday, I'll let you guys know that. So we do have a big announcements coming up after that. So stick around the entire show. Do we want to kick this thing up, Topher, right away?
Let's do it. Okay. Oh, there we go. Using sound drops. Okay. So as the moderator on this, I'm going to start off with the biggest breakout award. So give me your biggest breakout. And as a middle school and high school teacher, I'm really good at judging people. So I cannot wait to judge the crap out of you all evening.
All right. So who's going to kick this one off?
Yeah, Topher, pick.
Oh, I get to choose.
Yeah, you get to pick one of us.
You're the moderator.
You know what? I'm going to go with Skull Daddy Dirtbag Dave.
Jerry Judy. Is that who I picked? I don't even remember who I picked.
Justin, thank you so much for putting that up there. Because I thought I was going to have to text him on the side.
I was about to say, who did I pick? Because I don't have my notes in front of me. I have no notes, actually.
I have all of them. I have all of them ready for you.
Yeah. I love
Jerry Judy. I don't know the numbers. I don't know where he finished.
God.
All I know is he was a top 10 receiver at some point during the season. I will say he finished. Let's just be real. He was amazing when Jameis Winston was there. He was unstoppable when Winston came out. For a guy that you got probably off the waiver wire really, really, really late in your draft, he was a huge breakout candidate. I don't know exactly where he finished, but he still finished really high. And he helped your team all season long. So he's somebody that I don't even think I had him on any of my teams because I had no interest in him. But he broke out in a big way. And I always know he had talent. He just had nobody. The teams were just terrible. So it was nice to see him finally have a big season.
Yeah, he sucked his whole life. Honestly, let's be honest. So, I can't put it any other way. He's been such a disappointment. Wanting to fight, Steve Smith on the sideline.
If I'm a first round draft pick in the NFL and I'm called a disappointment in my entire life, I want to know what else I could do to possibly be successful at life. No matter how I perform, I could be Jamarcus Russell for all that matters.
For the biggest breakout award, and we don't know where he finished. Okay, cool. The first statement was when he was playing with Jameis Winston, who didn't play all season. He was great. That doesn't give me the entire season. He didn't play the entire season, so that Dave, you're wrong here, man. Who's next, Topher?
Justin, you're poking at Dave.
All right, well,
so
Chase Brown had a much better season. He actually played well the entire season, minus the first 3 weeks. But once he got through the first 3 weeks, he took off. We want to talk about biggest breakout. This guy was RB63 behind Mixon. Then they brought in Zach Moss to compete with Chase Brown. Zach Moss couldn't keep up. He had to get injured. Chase Brown finished as RB10, which is a starting running back in the NFL. In fantasy football. RB10 is pretty good. We do talk about a lot of the top 10 guys falling out of the top 10 the next year. I think if they continue loading up this offense, I don't think Chase Brown has any chance of falling out of the top 10. I think he even increases his value there as well. We're talking about somebody that was scoring 20 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the weeks all throughout the middle of the season. He was very consistent. Didn't need to score touchdowns to get you points. He was always just really, really good.
Okay. Mr. Kimmel.
So
finish out this round for us.
This one is not a surprise to anybody. If you watch football this year, if you watch football ever, you know this guy's a stud. That's Jackson Smith. I'm not going to pronounce his last name because I don't know how. We all know if you watch this show for the past 6 years, you know I can't even pronounce Keneal Harry. There, I did it. Awesome. So JSN.
Except that was wrong.
Did I get it wrong again?
It's Nikhil.
God, you say Keneal. Like
whatever his name is. I took him 101 and I will never I don't want to talk about him anymore. He ruined one of my leagues. But what JSN did not.
Hold on. For you not being able to
Jackson Smith
people's names.
So
hold on. Yeah, you deserve that.
That's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Hold on. N-Jig-Ba. It's literally African dialects are very much pronounced as it looks like.
Thank you. I'm glad that you're part of the team because you're going to help me out a ton because there's a lot. Tua, can you help me do Tua's last name? Because I don't even attempt it yet. But
it's very phonetic. You just go with the Latin vowels A, E, I, O, U. And instead of A-E-I-O-U, just do those 5 vowel sounds, and that's pretty much it.
Josh, tell us why JSN is the breakout.
Well, because last year he was a wide receiver 45, and he boosted all the way up to the wide receiver 7 this season. To a surprise to a couple people, right? Tyler Lockett took a huge step back this season, of course. He went from 122 targets last year to 74 this year, whereas JSN kind of flip-flopped that. He was around 74 last year. Bumped up to the 100 mark, which is what we want from our wide receiver 1, of course, on our fantasy football teams. The targets was a huge thing. 137 targets. He had a 73% catch rate this year, which is pretty good for wide receivers. You want to see that. Touchdowns stay the same. Like that tells me that he's not going to fluctuate year to year from touchdowns. He had 4 last year, 6 this year. So nothing crazy. Didn't get a huge bump up in touchdowns to make him better. It's just the target's worth. And then, of course, the yardage that come after that. I really like what he has going on with Geno out there because his catch rate. We talk about it. He's on a George Pickens. He's not going to make that spectacular play, but he can. But they don't need him to do that. They have DK Metcalf for that. So he is literally taking this Tyler Lockett role and running with it. And I think he is going to succeed DK Metcalf, and he's going to be drafted above a DK Metcalf. And that's why he's my biggest breakout. Not only is he breaking into to the top 12, he succeeded his own teammate in doing so. So JSN for me is the breakout of 2024.
Okay.
And the winners.
The winner is. I'm gonna have to give it to JSN right there. Chase Brown was a close second. Jerry Jeudy was a close fourth, maybe a close fifth. So, so I'm gonna give that to JSN. Keep your head up, Skull Daddy Dave. I'm sure that you will live in delusion just like you do as a Vikings fan every year. By the way, before we go into our next category, do you know how many Super Bowls the Vikings have been to?
No, tell me.
No, they've been to all of them, but they've just never won one.
It's gonna be a long night, man. It's gonna be a long. I feel like this is skewed. Look, my buddy Dave right here is feeling a little bit that's good. Are you gonna be a fair judge here?
Oh,
listen,
you just literally won the first point. Do you want me to take it away?
No. I'm just gonna say Jerry Jeudy, he sucked. He's the fourth.
No,
Jerry.
Right.
No, sir, I've inloaded you, bro. Come on.
Jerry. I don't see no notification. Here we go. Let's go to, speaking of Jerry Jeudy, biggest bust. Let's go look at the Browns. No. This time, you know what? Let's start with our winner of this round, Josh. Also, I'm going to be much better about our up and down votes this time because I forgot I had that power.
Oh, I love it. So Sam Laporta to me is easily the biggest bust of the season. He was drafted actually. A lot of people think he was drafted as a tight end 1 on the season, but he was actually drafted tight end 2. If you look at ADP, Kelsey actually did beat him out, which I didn't know that until I saw it today. So I was one of those people. But anyway, Laporta did get drafted 33rd overall in drafts, and he just sucked. I don't know what to tell you. It wasn't, the touchdowns. I was a big person like, oh man, he scored 10 touchdowns last year. He ain't going to duplicate that. Well, he scored 8. So there's only 12 points off. That wasn't the major factor at all. What it was the target share. He went from 21.1 to 17.1. He wasn't getting anything. Jameson Williams came off big this year. He took a lot of targets away from Sam Laporta. And let's be honest, Gibbs and Montgomery ran that offense. It was either Gibbs or Montgomery. They were getting 20 points a game, it felt like. And if you were lucky, Sun God got into the end zone. And if you're really lucky, Sam Laporta scored a touchdown for you. I just don't see anyone starting him past week 5. I don't see anyone having him on your roster past week 5. He finished tight end 8, but he didn't reach that mark until literally week 17. I went through the entire season. He started wide receiver 8, week 1. Then he went from 16, 18, 15, 23. He just kept on going up and up and up and up. And he came on late and finished strong. But by the time he finished strong, you were already out of the playoffs. So Sam Laporta, huge swing and a miss. You could have had Lamar. You could have had James Cook. There were so many better players, but you chose to take a tight end. So I hope everyone learned their lesson. Don't take a tight end that early, especially when it's a tight end like Laporta. It's got to be Kelsey or Bowers. Don't get cute.
Okay. Let's see. Let's go to Justin. Let's go to Justin on this one.
This one's an obvious. He might not have been 33rd overall in the drafts, but this guy was drafted 1 overall. Christian McCaffrey was drafted as your 101 in most fantasy leagues, unless you, for some reason, drafted the day of the season starting when you knew he was going to miss at least 4 weeks. Nobody anticipated him missing as much time as he did this season. You expect him to be the best player in fantasy football, and he played 2 weeks this season. And when he did play, he really wasn't as great as he should have been. He played 4 weeks, and he had 2 double-digit games the first 2 weeks he came back. Then he only had 7.8, and then 8.7 when he got hurt again. And then he disappeared. Everybody got their hopes up just in time. Okay, playoffs are coming up. Christian McCaffrey's back. He's about to get me into the playoffs, and then he just fails again. He gets hurt again and has another terrible season, finishing as RB68 on this season. Josh talked about it all season long. Man, Christian McCaffrey's killing me. I drafted him 101 in a lot of leagues, and he's absolutely killing me. He just didn't get to pick him first. I got to pick Christian McCaffrey first. That's what happens when you build the sheep.
I wouldn't have picked CMC, by the way. I would say that. I wouldn't.
All I'm saying is you draft him to be the best player
101.
The best player at 101, and he plays 4 whole weeks and has 2 productive weeks of the 18 games.
Yeah. Well, that's my problem with one, not Dave's as much. We'll get the Dave's in a second, but if it's a debate show, I want to bust. He was hurt. The man was hurt. Like, he didn't disappoint. He wasn't Sam Laporta disappointing you. He wasn't Dave's guy disappointing you. Playing like at least he was hurt.
At least Sam Laporta was getting you points each week. Christian McCaffrey didn't get you anything.
I'd rather have McCaffrey. I'd rather have a guy that, to me, a bigger bust is like McCaffrey. You knew he was getting you 0 points, and you couldn't put him in your lineup. The guys that, like Josh said, he was screwing you. Oh, well, I'm just saying he was out for however many weeks, whatever. Like, listen, he was a huge bust. He hurt your team for sure. But at least most of the time he was just out, and you just sat him on your bench, and hopefully you had Mason or somebody else in your lineup.
Hopefully, one of the 12 running backs that were there.
Hopefully, you had the insight to say, "Let me go pick up."
We'll see.
Let's go pick up Jordan Mason.
Yeah,
but a lot of people still drafted him thinking, "Oh, he'll be back in 4 weeks."
I mean, I did too. I took him in one league. He hurt.
That's a huge bust in my opinion. He gets you no points. You are already hurting that much. How many people? I want to know how many people drafted him at 101 and won their league this year.
Ooh.
Probably 0.
I'll say this though. You knew you were getting 0, like Dave said. Put him in your IR, and you have a chance to go pick up somebody else that can give you points. Or if you're plugging in a Sam Laporta weekly, you're like, I could go get Jonnu Smith, or I can go get this guy, and you're still playing this guy you feel obligated to.
You know you're getting 0 points for 4 weeks after your draft. Most people are drafting him because the 49ers said he's ready for week 1. He'll be ready week 1. He'll be ready for week 1. So you're like, okay, let's go get him.
Oh, they definitely lied to us.
That's the thing. He is the best.
I'm also going to say, as somebody that has Sam Laporta on a lot of dynasty teams, because I'm an Iowa boy, tight end university, I started Hunter Henry more than I did Sam Laporta, and I won my league. So, however, if I wouldn't have had my smash mouth running back options, or like my Puka Nacua out for season rather than him out for, the few games that he was, that Puka Nacua is literally the difference between me being a champion and me being not. So I'm saying, you can work around somebody having klutzy play. You can't necessarily work around as much somebody being gone. You at least get points. Dave, let's see what you have to bring for us. Ooh.
Tyreek was a bigger bust than Christian McCaffrey, because Tyreek, every single week you put him in your lineup, and every single week he fucked you. Christian McCaffrey, at least he's out. Like Josh said, he's on your IR. He's not getting. You can put literally. I could pick up a guy off the bench, off the waiver wire, and put him in my lineup if I have McCaffrey. Whereas when I got Tyreek, you're not benching him. And I think I saw he had 0 20-point games. He was. I don't think he got 1,000 yards receiving. He was the 102 or 103 overall this year. So he was right there with Christian McCaffrey.
3 20+ point games.
Okay, so we had a few,
including a 19.5 week championship week.
Where did he
starting him in the
wide receiver? Yeah, he probably didn't make it. Yeah. So that's all I'm saying. I think Tyreek, where he was drafted, it hurt you worse than with McCaffrey, because at least with McCaffrey, you knew he was out and you could put someone else in your lineup. Whereas Tyreek was just getting you just like shitters all year long, which is crazy to me, because I just don't know how that happens when he's so good and he's playing. But I think he's a bigger bust than McCaffrey. Laporta, they're all tight. All tight ends are trash. I'm sorry. It sucks where you took them, but besides Bowers and McBride, all the
All
tight ends were
Titans-
garbage. Like,
all
I'm sorry,
tight
they
ends
just
are
were.
trash.
And
talked
if
about it all
Laporta
year.
finished as a tight end 8, like that sucks compared to where you drafted him. But at least he was like serviceable. Like he wasn't completely like he was bad. Trust me, I get it. But he was bad compared to the other tight ends that you're starting. Like, what's the difference? 4 points a game? Okay, cool. Like, whatever. Like, Laporta got you 8. Your replacement could have got you 4. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not as comparable as Tyreek just completely fucking you. Even McCaffrey, like, at least he was out. Whatever. That's just. I think Tyreek was the biggest bust of the season by far.
Ooh. Well, I can tell you Josh won't win this round. It's between obviously Justin and Dirtbag. I was really on Team Justin until Dave started talking.
Because I'm smart.
Both of their players were impacted by injury. Just saying.
Yeah.
Mine wasn't. My player were just sucked.
I mean, but the fact you're disgracing.
Did Tyreek miss games?
And
No, but Tua did.
Okay, well, you still started Tyreek. I don't care who's hurt.
You're still
Tyreek's still in your
drafting
lineup
Tyreek
getting
and
you
Christian McCaffrey
crap.
in the first round, whereas you're drafting Sam Laporta in the third.
Top 5
round.
picks.
Hey, I already won round 1.
Yeah.
Y'all can. I'll accept defeat.
101. That's all I'm saying. You drafted a 101 right there, expecting him to be ready week 1, and he didn't play for more than 2 solid weeks.
But at least you could put him on IR.
I'm going with Dave on this one. It was a valiant effort, Justin. This time, Josh was actually like a 6th place on this one. Because if you're going to diminish Iowa tight ends to me, no.
Right.
And Sam Laporta started to turn it on in the second half of the season. That's something that you failed to mention.
Congrats, but I did. I said he ended up back at wide receiver 8 or tight end 8. I said that.
Yeah, and you said he was not getting as many touchdowns, but he went from 10 touchdowns to 8
No,
touchdowns.
I said that wasn't the problem. I said the problem wasn't. It was his target share and it was yardage because he still scored kind of the same amount.
That's fair. Okay, that's fair. You still lost. Okay, going on to best draft value. Let's go, Justin. You haven't had to vouch first, so let's hear you. Let's hear the best draft value.
I want to know who drafted Sam Darnold in fantasy drafts this year.
I did, and Scott Fishbowl.
Yeah, what I want to know
baby.
is who won their championship with Sam Darnold as their quarterback. That's what I want to know.
Scoring 25.78 points in championship weekend. Probably anybody that had it.
Yeah, he went off against who? Against the Packers.
Green Bay. Sam Darnold was drafted 14th, 15th, 16th round of the draft. You're throwing a flyer saying, maybe JJ McCarthy isn't gonna play for a while. Maybe I'll just see how Sam Darnold is going to be. He's got Justin Jefferson. He's fine. Like, maybe he'll be good. Sam Darnold finished as QB9. QB9. That's QB1 in Superflex even. You're not benching him, period. Considering where he was drafted in the draft and where he finished, this is the best draft value you could have gotten in the draft. By far. Like, I want to know who was drafted later than him. I remember in my home league draft, Sam Darnold was a free agent. Guess who picked him up and won the championship?
Oh, you did win it with him. Home league. We're bragging home leagues now.
I'm just saying.
We're talking about home
Some leagues he didn't even get drafted. He didn't even get drafted in most leagues. So the fact that he was drafted so late or not even at all and finishes QB9, winning new championships. His final 4 weeks, 34.5. Then he had that week against Chicago, 12.12. But you're probably in a bye week because you had Sam Darnold all season and you killed it. Then 22.94 in semifinals, and then championship 25.78. He's winning new championships. He started off pretty hot too. He got you right off to a good start. He had 1 week under 10 points.
Yeah, he was awesome.
That's a hot stat.
He was awesome until real life counted. Then he just shit all over himself. So.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we're not counting week 18. So
Okay, speaking of shitting all over yourself, we're gonna go to Skull Daddy Dave because he shits all over himself with his mental health.
Chuba.
Vikings fan.
Chuba was the best value, and I'll tell you why. Because one, running back's a more important position than quarterback in fantasy. It just is. We all know that. That's why they all go super high. You got Hubbard late, just probably as late as you got Darnold. Sometimes you got him off the waiver wire. I know after week 1, people were cutting him, and he ended up finishing. He missed the last week or two, so I know that's going to hurt him a little bit. But he was
2 weeks.
But he was. I mean, he definitely got you to the playoffs. He got you where you were at. It definitely sucks that he didn't. But I know before that he was. I believe he was top. I know he's top 10. I think he was higher than that.
He was 8.
Yeah. So he was literally amazing. He was. And he was a guy who I didn't really trust. I drafted him in a league or two because I just wanted to get through the first 4 weeks to when I thought Brooks was going to come in and take over. That didn't happen. Hubbard was amazing. He finished as an RB1, or I don't know what the final finish was, but when you had him, he was an RB1 every single week. He was just killing it. He was absolutely killing it. He was a plug and play guy, and that he was a better value than Darnold, mostly just because of running back, the positional value that I would say a running back provides than the quarterback. That's all. But Hubbard was just great, and I think you got him as a steal. You either got him off the waiver wire, or you got him super late, and you got an RB1 for basically free, and that just doesn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I didn't have my
14, by the way.
He finished 14. Yeah, it sucks he missed those last couple games.
Yeah, I didn't. I forgot to give you ups. I was nodding my head, so I gave you a few right there.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna concede. I'm not gonna concede because I saw it to put it out there, but I got cute. I want to get cute
JJ
because I think it's ridiculous.
I told him this.
It is. It
like,
absolutely is, brother. Remember when we talked about this preseason, and we said all you guys that are dropping him to into the first round are
Idiots, all of them. Me and you, I think, and especially we've been pounding. You can do it all you want. I'm not conceding this one because I didn't do a lot of. Trust me, I knew I was losing this one because it wasn't much. But I was like, and I told my friend this today at work. I said, if you tell me you can get JJ at 108, 109, you're doing cartwheels in the street naked because that don't happen much. And when it finally happened, you're like, oh, you better jump on that.
Is there evidence of that?
There's no evidence of it because it doesn't happen much. Okay, it only happened in 2024, and it's it. Nobody's doing that again. Nobody's gonna go.
He'll never drop that far ever again. Yeah.
And it was ridiculous.
I meant the cartwheels on the street. That's what I was talking about. I know there's evidence about Justin Jefferson.
I do more of like a tumble, like a little. What are those things? I'm not
tuck and roll.
Yeah, tuck and roll. There we go. I'm not as
tuck and roll into a lamp post.
Flexible as I used to be back in the day. Yeah. So Justin Jefferson for me, everyone was so down on him for no reason, for literally no reason at all. So that's,
the guy killed it with freaking Nick Mullins last year, and they were worried about Darnold. Like, shut up, idiot.
I was just getting cute, guys. I'll take the L. That's fine.
Okay. So Josh, once again, very easily taken out of the running. I'm gonna give that to Justin. I think that Sam Darnold, I think that yes. Oh no.
Wow. We're doing our own sound bites again?
Patting yourself on the back.
I forgot to do it the first two. I'm sorry.
Oh, right. You have the wah, 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 wah.
I'm going to make this case. I'm going to take the loss if you want. That's fine. But I bet you if you had the choice of taking Hubbard and a comparable quarterback in the last round or Darnold that late and any other running back that late, you would take Hubbard and a shitty quarterback or an average quarterback. That's all I'm saying. But it's fine.
Oh, I'm not denying that. But
so you're just lying and you're giving Justin the free win. Okay, it's cool. No, it's cool. It's cool.
No, hold on. I am supporting a Viking right here, Skull Daddy. Okay, senior dirt bag. So, so the reason is because I think the world, besides Dan Hansis from Heed the Call podcast, who is my birthday twin, he was very much on the Sam Darnold hype train from the get-go. Otherwise, nobody else was. And I think this resurgence of Sam Darnold. Yeah,
I was.
Delusional Vikings fans were too, but I don't count that. I really don't think that anybody anticipated anything like this. I remember Chuba Hubbard from college and thinking, okay, this dude's going to do something in the NFL. And he's had his moments. Now, obviously, we're waiting for Jonathan Brooks, but I think that Sam Darnold right here was the best draft value because you really weren't anticipating anything. With Chuba Hubbard, you knew you could at least get a few good games. With Sam Darnold, you were looking at the Jets, Sam Darnold, him seeing ghosts.
Smart people weren't.
Okay,
Hey,
whatever helps contract. You. Hey, did you win the Scott Fish Bowl?
I did not. I was terrible this year.
Okay. Oh, but I thought you had Sam Darnold, so that should have helped you out.
I should have. You're right, but Sam can only save my shitty team so much.
That's fair.
Be saving it next year. So
okay. Let's go to best rookie. Let's go to. Well, you know what, Josh? Last time you started off, you started off well. Ooh, so let's see if we can give you a chance to get back in the saddle.
All right, it's all tied up 1-1 right now. I had to let these guys get up, on the board. So let's get to the rookie of the year, and I picked Brian Thomas Jr. from the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was excellent this year. Like, let's be honest. The very first game, he played the Miami Dolphins. Now I'm sitting there at the Plaza Sportsbook with Dirtbag Dave, and I look over because they got TVs everywhere, of course, and then I look over and Brian Thomas Jr. is talking trash to. Is that Jalen Ramsey? Did he just catch a touchdown over Jalen Ramsey in his first game ever and talk trash to him? Oh my God, this is my dog right here. This is my dude right here. So Brian Thomas Jr., of course, led all rookies, even over Brock Bowers, which that was excellent. 1,200 yards. He is now 5th all time in Jacksonville Jaguars season history of receiving yards. Now you're like, oh, who's that? Who cares? Jacksonville doesn't have any receivers. Did you forget about Jimmy Smith? He pretty much owns the entire leaderboard for the Jaguars in receiving yards. So it's pretty good to be on that list with someone like Jimmy Smith, who's a stud. Just a complete stud. And you're like, oh, this guy didn't have a quarterback. It didn't matter. Mac Daddy Jones was throwing in the ball at the end of the season. He had Trevor Lawrence, who kind of was in and out, didn't care. This offense was a mess. Travis Etienne was a disaster. That whole organization was a complete dumpster fire. But yet Brian Thomas Jr. still excelled. And when they tell you don't start him, or all the signs say, oh, he's got Mac Jones, don't start him, and you still do, and he still puts up 34 points or whatever it may be, you're like, that's the guy. That's the next guy right here. Like, this is who we thought Marvin Harrison was going to be. This is kind of who we thought Malik Neighbors was going to be. And trust me, Neighbors is still a stud. Like, I'm not discounting him, but Brian Thomas, because he played every game and because he was consistent and just didn't have a big boom week here and there, he was consistent throughout the year. That's why, to me, he's the rookie of the year. And if I'm looking at drafting rookies next year or the sophomore guys, I think I'm going to have him ranked ahead of Neighbors and ahead of Marvin Harrison because of his consistency and always, just you can count on him to score touchdowns and put up points.
So this sound right here is for the rest of the Jacksonville organization. Okay. Yes. Dave, let's hear you.
All right, who do I got? I think it's Daniels.
Ooh.
I don't want to pick a quarterback but they took the other two. The other two guys are honestly the better players. I thought about Neighbors because he was awesome too. But Jaden Daniels is amazing. I forget where he finished. I think QB 4 or 5. I know he was up there. And you probably got him off the waivers or super late in your draft. So that helped. What do you mean no? Yes, you did.
Jaden Daniels' ADP was quarterback 12.
Okay,
Don't worry,
so you got him as the last QB1 in fantasy football in the draft.
That's
so
better than waiver wire.
That's super late. And he finishes like QB5. He was awesome. I had him. I don't really like to say the quarterback is the fantasy MVPs. I think Brian Thomas was great, but obviously Bowers was amazing. But for where you got Daniels, the way he finished, he was up there with obviously the guys, the greats, like besides Lamar and Josh Allen. He was right there with those other three guys. What hurts, I think, but he missed some games. So, anyways, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I think he's better than those other guys, but I think with where you got him at and the performances that he did do, he was awesome. So that's what I'm going to stick with.
Okay. And Let's go and hear you out on this, Justin.
I'm gonna start with I loved Brian Thomas Jr. This season. As a Colts fan, it hurt me that he was so good. Jaden Daniels is probably my favorite rookie in the entire NFL, and made me a Commanders fan in the playoffs. In fact,
Same.
if you had him in the playoffs, you probably won. 23.6, 36.4, 32.7 in the final 3 weeks of the playoffs. That's hard. Now, I don't know why I'm fighting for Dave's candidate, because I have Brock Bowers, who is the rookie of the year. Like,
That's for fighting for your opponent.
He is the best rookie fantasy option. We're talking about the tight end one of the season. Nobody thought he was going to be tight end one of the season. In fact, when he got drafted to the Raiders, I remember everybody going, "Oh no,
Yeah.
oh no, not Brock." That just ruined him. That's awful. Michael Mayer just did great last season. They have nobody. They have no quarterback. They have no running back. They have no offense, no defense, nothing. This is going to be awful for Brock.
Sincere
Man still
McCormick.
scored.
Thank you.
the man still got over 1,100 yards. He was 6 yards from 1,200. He only had 5 touchdowns, 112 receptions. He was targeted 153 times. Finishes tight end one on the season with 262.7 points. Man killed it. He's probably the most consistent all season long. And he killed it. He absolutely killed it. And it's so weird. Like, the tight end position was so bad. Like, there were weeks that he did not have a spectacular week like you expect him to have. But then he follows it up with a 20-point game and the most important weeks of the season too. So Brock Bowers is probably going to be the rookie. Well, he's definitely a rookie of the year candidate. I think, honestly, all three of these in the NFL are rookie of the year candidates. But fantasy-wise, like, I get Jaden Daniels, QB5, Brian Thomas Jr. I don't even know where he finished.
He was in the top 5, I believe.
I think he was like 7.
Oh,
Brock Bowers
was it 7?
Somewhere around there. I don't think he was top 5, but he was close.
Top 10.
Yeah,
Ahead of
he was
Neymar.
top 10. I was surprised when I saw how high he was.
Can't type
Okay.
it. Wide receiver 4.
That's what I said.
Dang,
right?
really? He
Yeah.
was 4?
I did my research, Dave.
God, look at that's
He
crazy.
had a killer into the season
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
with Mac Jones.
Yes. I obviously it is hard to choose between these three because they're all viable candidates. But I have I think a little part of my heart is now unfortunately in the state of Florida with BTJ. And so I'm gonna give this one to Josh. Okay. There was just something. I just sat there and I went, an LSU receiver that's slipping in the draft a little too far than he should. It reminded me of Justin Jefferson. It reminded me of the dominance that he just came out with. And I just, BTJ has just gone with that. So let's go to most consistent. I like this award. Like that consistency is something that makes these teams wonderful and great. So like the Packers continually making the playoffs, or the Packers' success at quarterback. Just the consistency is really the key. So you know what, Dave, let's start with you on this one.
Does Dave remember who you picked?
Let's bet on that. Let's bet on that. Oh.
Derrick Henry. Listen, remember when we were making our rankings, Josh? And me and you had Henry up there, and Justin and Jacob had him so low. And we're like, do you realize this is Derrick Henry? He is amazing. Like, I get it. He was falling off a little, so I get it. But he went to the perfect offense. You could not have put him in a better team, to me, in my opinion, offensively. And I think week 1, he was. I remember we were watching the game, and I think Justice Hill had a little bit bigger role, and we were like, eh. But literally after that, he was unstoppable. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I am not looking at them. All I know is every single week, if you had Derrick Henry in your lineup, he was going off. Him and Saquon are probably the top 2 guys that just they were unstoppable. I mean, there's a reason why they were ran for 1,900 and 2,000 yards. But just, I mean, every single time I looked at someone who had Henry in the lineup, he was getting like 20 plus points a game. It was ridiculous. So that's my guy. I mean, he was as consistent as they come. He was amazing.
Absolutely. Josh, let's go to you.
So consistency is consistency. So there's another word I can't see. Or see. Justin in our group chat knows that I can't spell mediocrity, which is fine. Anyway, my guy is Patrick Mahomes. Like I said, it doesn't have to be great. Like we're talking about consistent. Like, oh, this is just a plug and play. You'll never have to worry about it again. And Patrick Mahomes is just that guy, for good or bad. Now you're smiling, Justin, because he wasn't good this year. Like he averaged points per game, 9th best in the NFL at the quarterback position. So he was consistent. If you drafted him, you put him in quarterback, you don't worry about it until his bye week, and you literally just leave it alone. Now, with guys like Derrick Henry, who's consistent and awesome, you have to worry about injuries, nagging, is he going to play, game time decision? I ain't got to worry about that. That's how I looked at this award. I ain't got to worry about it. But the teams I had Mahomes, I ain't worry about it. I didn't draft another quarterback. I didn't pick up another quarterback. I think on his bye week, I just picked up like some random guy. And you can give me that noise all you want. That's fine. This guy was super duper consistent. He's keeping it going in the playoffs. He knows how to flop like the best of them. The guy's a stud. Patrick Mahomes for the win. And guys, don't hate on Mahomes. Like he turned it on at the end of the year. He turned it on. He was a quarterback 4, 7, and 7 on the past 3 weeks of the season. So
in the first 13, he was QB 12, QB 13.
Okay, hold on.
So is that consistent or not?
Oh wait, no, he was 17, 16.
Yeah. Okay. So
17, 16, consistent.
Okay, so I'm
consistently shitty.
It's okay.
I'm
didn't say good consistent.
Okay. Yes, you definitely defended that. Now I'm looking at Sleeper right now, and in my main dynasty league, the first 4 weeks of the season, he was projected at 25.93, 27.21, 26.15, and 25.81.
You have some weird scoring on there. I'm just gonna say that.
But anyway, he was underscoring his projection by 10 points a week. Then by week 5, they brought down his projections to average about 21 points rather than 26.5. So that consistency that you talk of, that half of his scores haven't even graduated high school yet because they're so low. That, with a random 30-year-old in there, like we're watching 21 Jump Street or something. I think that
well, let me ask you a question.
I can.
Are we going off of man-made projections by some nerd in the statistics room, or are we going off of what he actually did on the field?
I'm sorry. We are nerds in the statistics.
We are, and I am. I understand that. We're going off of what some site projected instead of what he actually did.
I mean, if we were talking some site, we could go look up some third graders' My Little Pony project. Sleeper is a very well-known, usable source. So I would not say it's an unreliable source. I would say that Sleeper is, one of the backbones of the fantasy industry when it comes to usage. So, but I'm going to say that if you were going for consistency, you're not going to look for a quarterback that by his bye week only scored 20 points once. And that's not a consistency that you're going to sit there and question and go, hey, I like this every week. Josh Allen's over there scoring 50 points every other week. Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels. Oh, I can pick up Mac Jones off free agency and have him outscore.
Sam Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold. You could do all of that. I think consistency. Patrick Mahomes didn't help people. Patrick Mahomes.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that was the. I thought the award was just consistent.
Yeah, I know.
He was consistently average.
That's Thank you.
Exactly.
That's what my point is.
That's
yes, he's
true.
consistently
Yeah, he's
average.
very
You're right.
consistent.
You're right about
You're
consistency.
I opened up with he didn't have to be good. We're not talking about good consist. I just
Oh,
said
yeah.
that's why.
I
That's what
I mean,
agree.
technically, he's right.
He's
I
not
agree,
wrong.
but when you have somebody talk about the fantasy phenomenon of Derrick Henry, because Patrick Mahomes, obviously phenomenal at real football. He doesn't have to be great at fantasy. But, like, I don't know. I'll have to chew on this a little bit.
I'm
gotta
just
see if-
happy I didn't have to make my arguments against Patrick Mahomes.
I just
so.
have to figure out if Derrick Henry's scored what Sleeper thought he was going to score. Hold on, I gotta check this real quick.
Do we even know who's Justin's guy? Can we get to him at
Yeah,
least?
let's get to that. Oh, Derrick Henry. Oh, consistently meeting the standard or beating it. No big deal.
I can't look
Okay.
at the projections.
So week 10, Derrick Henry did start to fall off under his consistency, but he did pick it up for the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah,
So that
but
is
hold
important.
on. If we're going to talk about consistency, also projections, at the beginning of the season, he was projected at 13.5, 14.5, 13, 13 and 3/4. And by the
He's
end of the
killing us.
season, it was 18 and 3/4. It was 17. It was 17.5. It was 18.5. So he was doing so consistently better that he had to be projected for better. So
my
let's
guy.
go, Justin. Let's hear your guy.
The guy who is so good, he couldn't even get his own team into the playoffs. Mr. Joe Burrow,
Ooh.
despite how bad that defense was, despite them firing their defensive coordinator and him moving to Indianapolis, which I still hate. This man embalms consistency throughout this entire season. You probably got through week 1, just like Derrick Henry going, 8 points against New England. That's bad. But then he follows it up by literally out producing his projections in all but 2 weeks, in week 7 and 8, where he scored 14 and 13.8. After that, he's scoring 20 plus points, 30 points a game, because he's got a great elite wide receivers. He's got an elite running back. He's got a good offense. Joe Burrow is the guy that you plugged into your offense and said, I don't have to worry about my quarterback anymore. Whereas Patrick Mahomes, you're going, I might have to get another quarterback. Derrick Henry. Okay. Let's see there. Derrick Henry is good. I remember in 2020 going, man, I'm selling Derrick Henry right now for a bunch of picks because there's no way this guy's going to go for another year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. This man's never going to fall off. But Joe Burrow was just absolutely insane, especially as the season picked up, especially starting in week 9 when they really started picking up.
Bro was awesome. One league I had him and Chase, and it was amazing.
30 points, 33, 29, 20, 25. That got you into the playoffs. Then he followed it up with 18, 21, and 37 points in the championship. Joe Burrow was not just consistent, he was consistently good all the way through the playoffs and won you championships.
Okay. Now, we need to, I think before I make this decision, after looking at these stats, I hate to say this, but Josh does have a bit of a point when we're looking at consistency across the board, because Patrick Mahomes' scores are most even across the board. But now I'm saying that because yes, he didn't have he had a great week in week 17 and week 12, but otherwise it was and maybe week 9. But rest of the time it was they're going to try and get into a bar with a fake ID sort of numbers. However, Joe Burrow, if we're talking points consistency, he's outplaying his projection, but would you say going from 32 to 22 to 50 to 23, to 41 to 49 to 30.
What scoring are you
Sounds like he
looking
was
at?
consistently awesome to me.
What scoring are we looking at here?
That's pretty
I'm
awesome
looking-
to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm looking at my. I should change because that league has some funny
get to a
things.
standard scoring.
Yes,
setting
I'm getting
here.
there. I'm getting there. Okay.
But yeah, it
Hold
sounds
on.
like he's consistently awesome. Where if his floor is 19 points,
Then that should be your MVP. We're talking consistent.
that's fair.
I mean,
Consistently.
okay.
getting you
So
edge.
I'm looking at the most vanilla league that I have. It's my home league. So vanilla league right here with Joe Burrow. You're still having 21 to 31 to 20 to 43 to 19 to 18 to 14 to 39 to 41 to 30. You're still having a lot of influx. So we're talking most consistent in your lineup, that like a mainstay of your lineup, or are we looking at weekly points? That's what I want to know. What was the purpose of this award? Because I wasn't in there for the creation of this.
So the
I'm
description.
just
How
a
about
surrogate.
you're the judge? You can do whatever
Yep.
whatever
Yeah,
your
you're the
heart
boss.
desires.
Yep.
Whatever your heart desires.
There you go.
Okay, because if I'm
Gotcha.
going, yep, I'm going with the dictionary definition and going with consistency. I've argued with him, but I'm going Josh. I think that he does have that consistency. He did have that most consistent season. I wouldn't say that I would have, if it had anything to do with reliability, I wouldn't have done it. But consistency, yeah, I'll give him that. Right now, Josh is up 3 versus everybody else's 1. And there are
Fine.
3 categories left?
3 categories go.
Good.
Yep. That's fine. We're good.
And then I'm also going to be fun, and I'm going to give you a quick category if we have time at the end to give me a 10-second what you think for a typo possibly. So, okay, let's go to we're obviously doing our own time here. We do need to catch it up a little bit. So let's go to comeback player of the year. Comeback player of the year. Let's go from left to right on the screen. Justin, let's start with you.
This is a player that we all decided he was dead. And in fact, I think Josh said never draft this player again, never roster this player again. I think we've all kind of agreed that Terry McLaurin is dead. And 2 weeks into the season, we're like, they are who we thought they are.
But they are who we thought they were.
However, Terry McLaurin had a killer season. Wide receiver 7 on the season. Past week 2, he had 2 games outside of 15 under 13 points. He absolutely killed it. Now he did kill you in the championship round, getting you 1.5 points against Atlanta. Okay,
yeah,
that's fine. 2 points against Philly, but he's scoring consistently 15, 17, 23, 8. Like he's scoring a ton of points.
Oh yeah, every single wide receiver has
for the Commanders.
Yeah,
and a lot of that, Jaden Daniels helped resurrect Terry McLaurin's career. I loved that Terry McLaurin came back this year. I cannot wait for next year. However, I think he will be drafted a little too high. People are going to draft him in the top 10, maybe in the top 5. Not top 5. Can't go top 5, but at least top 10. He'll probably be around 12, 15 next year. But Terry McLaurin absolutely had a comeback season. He was dead. Like, all intents and purposes, he was not a fantasy wide receiver that you wanted to take the risk on. I mean, we're talking about wide receiver 29, 20, 25, 14, and then 28. You assumed he was dead. He's gone.
Yeah.
13 touchdowns. He's never scored that many in his career. 13 touchdowns, which was 6 more than his rookie season, which was the highest amount since he's been in the NFL.
There you go.
So
nice. Josh, let's hear it.
So this guy's never. It was hard for me to put him as a comeback since he's never been there officially.
Where did he come back from?
Hold on. Let me talk. So
This is terrible.
It probably is. This is one of those I'm going to tank for you guys so you guys can come back. But how many times in this day and age of the NFL, if a rookie wide receiver, we talked about this, Dave and Justin, I know we talked about this. If they don't make it right away, if they're not superstars right away or show some kind of life, they're dead in the water and they don't come back. We've seen it.
Devontae Parker, come on.
Fins up, baby. But we've seen it before, and it happens all the time. And we thought this was the case with Jameson Williams. In this season, he actually did come back and play. He scored 7 touchdowns, had 1,000 yards. He made an impact. I think he had more yards than Tyreek Hill. He made an impact on that offense, and he mattered. And what he came back from was irrelevancy, nothing. He came back from literally undraftable. Nobody wanted to touch this guy. In dynasty leagues, I was getting laughed at for sitting a third for him. Legit. Dave, you know this. We couldn't get rid of this guy. And now he's someone that's going to be draftable, somebody, an asset you want to grab. He averaged 20. He was 20th in points per game at the wide receiver position. He did miss, I think, 1 game. That's something. And with that offense, with the Detroit Lions, they're going to.
Dave, what are you doing?
I don't know. I'm trying to mess with my settings, and I'm trying to.
And he forfeited, so therefore, I think I win this. I win this chat. I win it. I win.
Well,
I win.
Well, Justin is gone. Like, you can't discount Justin.
Oh,
Okay,
Justin,
there we go.
Okay, all right.
Okay, good. Okay,
Dave, are you back?
Dave.
Yeah, can you guys hear me? Both my headphones died, so I'm
Oh, you're good. You're
no speaking.
you're
Is it my turn to talk about how terrible Jameson Williams was?
Yes.
That's awful.
So terrible.
That's terrible. Where did he finish as? First of all, he didn't come back from anything. He was never alive, so there's nothing to come back from.
He did.
Wide receiver 22.
And 2, he was super streaky. He either got you 25 to 30 points or he got you like 2 points. Literally, he was so up and down. That's talk about not consistently. He would win that award, the inconsistency guy. Anyway, we're going to Cortland Sutton. I don't know where he. Someone tell me where he finished, because I know he's at top 10 or 12 at one point. Okay, so he finished 15. What? Tell me. Talk,
come at me,
talk shit.
and then you don't know shit about your player.
I don't know shit, but I know he finished. He was better than Jameson Williams, and he actually came back because he used to be good. Then he died for a couple of years, and now he's back. Bo Nix brought him back to life. He finished as a high-end wide receiver 2, and you drafted him super late. That's the definition of a comeback player, not Jameson Williams, who's dead, and then every now and then, every 3 weeks, shows up for a big game. That's not the case. I forget who Justin said his comeback player was. Who was it?
Terry McLaurin.
McLaurin, great. McLaurin honestly probably should win this, but Colton Sutton I do think is a close second. And either way, Josh's pick is terrible, so I'll just stick with that.
Okay, so on this one, I'm going with Scary Terry. I think Scary Terry definitely brought that comeback of the player, comeback player of the year. I thought Cortland Sutton was a close second, and Jameson Williams was a glorified MVS. So
I like that.
Hatred.
Let's see. Let's go to waiver wire. Who is the best waiver wire pickup? And go. Oh, let's start. I should tell you who to go. Dave, let's start with you.
Jonnu Superstar Smith, just like we all knew. The guy that we all knew was a stud. Listen, I had zero faith in him. And then I don't remember what week it was. All of a sudden you see him just at the top of tight end rankings every single week. And you're like, there's no way he's going to keep it up, including me. I didn't think it. Every week he was getting you, like, he was going off. I don't know where he finished as a tight end, but I know it was high. 4. See, look at that, superstar. And you got him literally off the waiver wire probably halfway through the season, because the first half, I don't want to say the first half, but the first amount of games, he was not doing anything. And then he just became, it was him and Brock Bowers and Trey McBride every week that were just superstars. So to get a tight end at a position, a position that is really hard to get, you got one for free. That's a steal to me. And that's the best you can ask for, especially, like I said, at a position where we're begging for points from that position. People were starting, me included, Kyle Pitts every week just because the tight end position was so bad. And so to get someone like Pitts for free was a steal.
Johnny was our number 1 waiver wire pickup in week 13.
Stud.
Superstar.
Yes. Okay.
He came on our radar in week 12 because we didn't believe in that week 7 of 22.6 against Indy, which he then followed up with a 6 and a 9 and a 7. And then he became a stud and finished as tight end 4.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Let's go to Josh next.
All right, this one, I'm not going to tank this one, guys. Bucky Irvin clearly was the best waiver wire pickup because it's at that prime position at the running back where everyone's hurting in the middle of the season. We're all looking for that guy who's going to bring us to the playoffs. Bucky Irvin really took over that role over in Tampa Bay, catching balls, running the ball well, pretty much doing everything better than Rashad White, pretty much everything. At the beginning of the season, he was only getting 31% snap shares in the 40s. Then middle of the season, started taking over 50%, taking over that role. And Bucky Irvin was for sure the best player, not best player, best running back in that room because we had that Sean Tucker week. We had Rashad White still wouldn't go away. And honestly, we talk about CMC being hurt. We talk about, all these situations where you need a running back bad. He was the guy who got you there to the playoffs. He was a stud down the line. He was drafted at ADP 58, I believe, when I was doing my research this morning. And he succeeded that. He's going to be drafted easily.
Way too high.
Yeah, you're right. He's going to be drafted way too high, but he's going to be worth it because he's not going away. This wasn't a one and done kind of thing. He's taking over this role. He's a running back for now on, and he helped you win. Now, I got something to say. I know we don't want to go long. Waiver wire pickup could be not just to help you win. It could just, I needed a guy. Like Cade Otton to me was a really, really strong, really, really strong candidate. I thought about him after I picked Bucky because when Cade stepped in, when Big Mike went down and Chris Godwin went down, he was freaking better than any tight end in the history of the world. But I'm still sticking with Bucky Irvin.
Yeah.
Bucky Irvin first hit. I only say this because we have historical records of this. First hit our radar as a must pick up in week 4. So hopefully people paid attention and picked him up.
Yeah. Okay, Justin, let's hear yours.
Dude, Juwan Jennings. It was a week 1 waiver wire pickup. I'm pretty certain, or week 2 technically. He came in our list, I believe. Now I'm questioning my own self. Now I'm talking at the same time. This is difficult. Week 4. He was also in week 4. Okay, so Juwan Jennings not only was a waiver wire pickup in week 4, but he was also a waiver wire pickup in week 11 when he came back from injury. Because not only did we say, hey, go pick him up, and then immediately he started doing really well. Then he got hurt, and then we were like, okay, Juwan Jennings is dead. Apparently 46.5 points is only happening once in his lifetime. And then he came back from injury and started scoring 20 points a game again, and it was weird. And we were like, oh, go pick him back up. So he is a 2-time waiver wire pickup candidate here. He is really good. I don't know what to say. Just like all of these guys, honestly, they all had up and downs. They were all a roller coaster. Bucky Irvin was just really good all season. Johnny Smith had a very killer end of the year. Juwan Jennings, again, also on a roller coaster season. I can't hate any of these picks. My pick would probably be Johnny, though. But that's also just me drafting Johnny in every league every single season. So he was never a
You had first pick, buddy. You had first pick.
I know, but I didn't pick Johnny because, I can't pick him up off the waivers if he's already on my roster.
Yeah, that is true. Oh
So
my
my-
gosh. I gotta. I think Bucky Irving wins this. Bucky Irving has my heart. Yeah, Josh is gonna win that category. I think all of them were valiant options, but I don't think there was a better option than Bucky Irving to pick up on this season. Let's go to MVP. Okay, MVP. Let's go with Josh first.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
So hear me out. This is by far the most famous we've ever been when we made a video about Baker Mayfield. Now, and that was a negative video on him.
3 times.
3 times. Hat trick. Now I'm legit one of the biggest Baker fans that is out there. And he completely crushed this season. And you're like, well, he didn't finish quarterback one. He didn't finish player one, whatever you may say. I know y'all's candidates, and they're all awesome, and everyone deserves to win this. But y'all drafted those specific players in the first round. You drafted Baker as quarterback 21 on the season, aka you didn't draft him. Like if you did, he was your backup, and it was really, really late.
I thought we already did best draft value today.
Well, I know that's why I didn't put him as best draft value. I would have won that category.
Oh, that's right. You picked Justin Jefferson.
Well, I wanted to make sure.
In the first
this is the
round.
first person I freaking put in our sheet, by the way, was Baker as MVP, and I wanted to make sure I got him.
Put Baker as your other player.
But I'm making a point here. Can I get my point? So
Go ahead.
Again, Lamar, Burrow, right? They all were better than him. Josh Allen, even Jane Daniels. They all finished above Baker Mayfield in the standings, but they were all drafted as a top 12 quarterback. They were already drafted that position. So therefore, you're not getting much value out of you are, because they're all, like I said, they were all awesome. But Baker is such that value, that most valuable player for your fantasy team. Now you talk about touchdowns. We talked about he scored 41 passing touchdowns, but that's not it. Total touchdowns from a quarterback. Lamar had 45. Joe Burrow had 45. Baker had 44 total touchdowns. Josh Allen had 41. Baker was on a different level this year. And I don't know if it was from Liam Cohen. I don't know if he just had a chip on his shoulder because he didn't get a bit. Like, I don't know what it was, but he was just so much better than what he thought he was going to be, what we all thought he was going to be, what everyone thought he was going to be. 12 out of 17 games, he was a top 9 quarterback or better, of course, because he finished so high. We had to bring that up. He was just so, like, if you drafted him late, you could afford to go mess around with your lineup because he was going to give you top 5 quarterback and they give you points. Dave, you said quarterbacks don't matter much. Go look at the playoffs. All the teams had Josh Allen, Lamar, Burrow, Baker. They all had the Daniels. They all had the quarterbacks. Yes, there's so many of them. And yes, running backs and all the other positions are very, very, you're scratching the bottom of the barrel sometimes. You did that with Baker and it actually helped you and it actually elevated you. I would like to see, I don't know the stat, how many people had Baker as their championship quarterback? Because, God, he was freaking phenomenal. Losing Mike, losing Godwin, having weeks with McMillan and freaking Kate Otten as his receivers. Are you kidding me? I mean, come on. And we all saw that. I mean, this doesn't matter for fantasy, but that run he had in the playoffs where he just – dude, Baker's – he's a stud. My MVP. He might not win this one, but I'm here for it. I love you, Baker. Don't leave Tampa ever.
Okay, Justin.
Yeah, let's go with the wide receiver one of the entire fantasy football season. He was on a different level. 1,700 yards, 17 touchdowns, 403 points. He scored the most fantasy points in all of fantasy football by over 50, nearly 50. Sorry, Saquon was 2, I think. Oh, no, Saquon was RB2. I don't even know who was RB1 now. Anyways, Jamar Chase was just absolutely unstoppable. I mean, he had one bad week in week 2 against Kansas City where he still had 4 receptions. He had 7.5 points there. Outside of that, he never had a not double digit game. He scored 40 or more points 3 times. He scored 55 points in a week against Baltimore, who everybody assumed was like one of the best teams in the league, especially that secondary. He had 11 receptions and 3 touchdowns against Baltimore on a Thursday night. I thought Thursday night football was boring. So Jamar was just on a different level. Contract year. This is real full circle moment for me here because back in April 2024, famously, we all did our bold takes. These guys picked, this player will be RB1, this player will be QB1, this player will be wide receiver 1. And I was like, you know what? Jamar Chase has finished as 12 and 11 the last 2 years. He is not going to finish in the top 12 this season at the wide receiver position. And I could not be more happy that I was wrong because he was on a different planet.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase for MVP, Jamar Chase for president.
Okay, Dave.
Saquon. I mean, there's a reason why the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. The guy ran for 2,000 yards. You got him at the end of the first round, top of the second. And honestly, it's the same with Chase. Chase, I know he had that whole Willie holdout thing, so you probably got him around the same time. Both of these guys were unbelievable. They both probably won your leagues or put it. And you know what? Honestly, Josh is right. Baker was amazing. If you didn't take a quarterback high, or even if you did take a quarterback high and you got Baker late, maybe you traded him, whatever. So Baker was amazing, and I can't argue that either. Just Saquon, he wasn't. There was everyone was taking, it was CMC, it was Brees, it was Bijan, even, I think there was probably somebody else in between there. Gibbs was up there.
Oh, you're talking just
Who?
running backs. You're just talking running
Yeah.
backs.
I'm just talking about I mean, everybody loved Saquon, but he wasn't one of the top 3 or 4 guys in most drafts. And the fact is, he was amazing. Obviously, there's really not much to say. He was awesome. I traded him in one league like an idiot. Because I had so many injuries. I ended up getting. I don't even want to tell. I don't want to say how it was so bad. I don't want to talk about it. But Saquon was unstoppable, just like Chase was, just like Baker was. So, flip a coin.
Yeah. Those were all really, really good choices. Sweet baby Jesus. I'm gonna have to go with Dave on this one. Saquon Barkley. I think that he definitely was that MVP of the entire league. Like, I don't know how you can that. It's just tough to compare with what he did. Very, very good job. Real quickly, I would like to go through. I went through and I made my answers to each category because I didn't know the categories until today. So I'm going to do quick answers for mine. Breakout player, Rico Dowdle. I think that guy, nobody counted on him. He was not ball buster, but he started at the end of the season rushing for 100 yards plus almost consistently. The second half of the season, he broke out very quietly. It wasn't talked about. So I think Rico Dowdle has a chance to show that. Bust Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson, biggest bust.
That guy.
Yeah.
Which team?
All of them.
The Ravens, the first, second time, the Panthers.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. My draft value, Quentin Johnston, because you probably grabbed him as your last receiver in the draft, and he came through and won some big games for you. Was a great bye week kind of week flex sort of guy. Rookie Bucky Irving. I am Bucky Irving stan over here. Consistent player, Jahmyr Gibbs. Consistency at the top of his game. Comeback player of the year, Josh Jacobs. He was RB 27 last year. He's top 5 this year. Waiver wire pickup, Bo Nix. Nobody was drafting Bo Nix. He came through and was a top 12 quarterback. And my MVP, because I couldn't choose any of the ones that you chose, would have been Derrick Henry. And I know he's used earlier in the show, as was Bucky Irving, but I do not care. Yeah. So with that said, Josh is our winner for this. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. Proud of you. You did the thing. You won a couple categories that at first, when I saw the list, I was like, there's no way. So you did some good talking and finagling and Venmoing, and I appreciate it.
Great. Thank you for the win. This was the first ever award show that was like this. It was super fun, guys. Like, honestly, I know it ran a little bit longer than we expected. Dave's falling asleep over here. I see your eyes. I'm tired as well. If you know me, I'm asleep by now, guys, normally. But thank you so much. Yeah. So thank you guys so much. I want to kick it over to the big announcement that we have here. And I want Justin to do it because he's you're away with words, and I debated too much. My throat hurts. Topher's throat hurts. I want you to do it.
So I'm gonna leave all you on screen for this. We have discussed and it feels weird that I'm doing this because this started with you guys, you and Dave, but we have discussed on the back ends over the last several weeks, months. Once Upon a Sunday is coming to a close. We're closing the name, closing the show. It's been a great 8 years for you guys. I've been on the team for 2.5 years. It's been a fantastic time. But we're not done. Once Upon a Sunday might be the name might be over, but we're changing our names. We are now going to be Fantasy Now Plus, focusing strictly just straight up fantasy football, fantasy content in general. Hopefully in the future we have more fantasy content, whether that's baseball, hockey, basketball, whatever people want to see later
RuPaul's
on.
Drag Race.
We're focusing strictly on football to start with, but we wanted to give you guys a name that you could hear Fantasy Now and know exactly what we were talking about. Once Upon a Sunday, great, loved it. If you know what Sunday is, it's football day, but we just wanted to give you something that is more what we are. So hopefully this is a good name change for us. We are going to be bringing you more content, more stuff. You can start checking out some of our social media pages at Fantasy Now Plus, all spelled out there. You can visit our website, fantasynowplus.com. There is some content there. It's not all built out yet. We are going to be putting more content. You're going to see all of our videos there. We have articles. We're working on draft stuff, getting player profiles ready to go for you for rookie drafts in the NFL draft. We're just going to we're expanding the team. Topher's joining our team for some
Absolutely.
content. So we're gonna have some great content. Our goal is to have 6 shows a week. Our goal is to have 6 shows a week. Whether we can pull that off, we'll see. But if you ever have felt like you are good at fantasy football, you're good in front of a camera or even in front of a microphone, and you want to talk about fantasy football with other people, hit me up because we're looking for more people. We want to expand this thing. We want to grow. We want to include more people in this. So it's more than just mine and Josh's voices bickering back and forth, talking about the Dolphins and Colts every single week. We need more.
We'll talk about some relevant teams like the Packers and Vikings.
Packers didn't even finish second in their own division, so I don't even want to.
Yeah, but they would have won like 7 of the other divisions, so it's fine.
So yeah, that's the big announcement. Fantasy Now Plus is coming out. Stay tuned. We might go dark. A lot of social media pages are going to be changing over here shortly. But
if you're on YouTube right now, I want to make sure everyone knows if you're on our YouTube channel watching right now, there's 63 of you watching right now live, whether it be on X, Fins Talk, or OUS YouTube. We're staying the same. You don't have to go resubscribe somewhere. You don't have to go anywhere else. We're just staying here. We are going to probably most likely change our RSS feed in the podcast. So if you're a podcaster out there and you're listening to us, this is the last show you're going to hear on this feed. So we'll link that new RSS feed in the description on the podcast. So we do have audio listeners only, Justin. I know it's hard to believe, but we do. So if you're one of those people, don't worry. We will put that link in the description. Just please go and follow us there. But yes, OUS is coming to an end. It was me and Dave. I had a terrible job I hated. And I was listening to, literally, this is how it came up. I listened to fantasy football content all day long while I was working my terrible job. And I was like, listening to a very famous one. I'm like, they're telling people to do this. And I'm like, Dave, they're telling people to do this. And he's like, why? I'm like, I don't know, but we know stuff too. Maybe we can help people. Like maybe we can help other people. And I said, well, I got to think of a name. And I'm like, well, Adam Carolla calls it fairy tale football. I like Disney. We watched it on Sunday. So if maybe once upon a Sunday I could win a fucking championship or something like that. So that's how I thought of it. I thought it was cool. We ran with it. We did it for years. We started with literally like a little, Dave bought this little, I don't know what it was, little docking system, cheap-ass microphones. We sounded like we were talking like this. We just talked football for like forever, and we would do it live. We would show up. I would literally show up at Dave's house. He'd grab a sticky note and go, all right, write down your players that we're going to talk about tonight. We had no preparation. We just winged it. And now we're getting a phone call. Who is that? Is that you, Justin?
That's not me.
Okay, it's fine.
I don't think it's me.
I don't think
All
it was
good?
me. Was
So
it you, Dave?
It was Dave. He's connected to his phone, but it's all right.
Not
And then
me.
who the fuck was that? Do we have a spot?
Not me.
Bobby, are you here? And then
Oh, that was my husband, because I'm on our desktop and his phone rang. I heard him heard him start talking on the phone.
So
Because
I
my
just
phone
wanted
wasn't ringing.
and I just want to bring up one memory that I had from the show way back in the day. We were just getting into Superflex. Like we were in it, but we weren't like in it, but we were in it. And Dave did the most research he's ever done in his entire life, ever combined on that one night show. Because he told me why Dwayne Haskins was a better value than what I traded for. Do you remember this, Dave? Do you
Of
remember
course,
this?
I remember it. Yeah,
Tell us about it. What happened?
I don't remember. I just remember it was I don't remember. I just remember Dwayne Haskins, and I don't even remember who the other person was that was in the deal, the trade that we did. I don't remember. I just remember it was a super flex question or comment
I
or
traded
whatever.
away Dwayne Haskins for like 2 positional players. At the time, I didn't understand the concept that even the worst quarterback, the 32nd best quarterback, is still better than like a wide receiver, 22 or something
It was
like that.
Haskins and somebody else for somebody else, and I don't remember who either
And
players
you
were.
had a whole book written out of stats
Yeah.
on quarterbacks dating back to like
the whole show
1970.
talking about it.
And that was probably the coolest moment.
And you told me to stop, and I said, "No, you started this, and here we go. We're gonna finish it."
Yeah. We had Dave Randorf on the show. Lightning.
Yes, that was awesome.
Lightning broadcaster. He was on national TSN. That was great. We had Adam Rank on the show. I mean,
you're just answering all the questions I had for you.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was allowed to freeform it.
No, go ahead. Do your
Yeah,
thing.
keep it up.
Show.
We had Adam Rank on the show. I actually Venmo'd him, not for the show, just because we became in the Scott Fish Bowl league together. The very next same year, we were in the same division, Frank Sinatra, and I was trying to get together. Like we're donating, so we decided, hey, just everyone Venmo me. I'll pay Ronald McDonald House or whatever we did, and he Venmo'd me. I'm like, oh, cool. Adam Rank Venmo'd me once. That was pretty cool. Other than that, like it's been a good time, Dave.
Dave, what was your favorite moment?
It was awesome.
over this.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Oh,
Honestly, I'm trying to think of anything that I can think of that stands out.
Or most memorable moment. What just comes to mind first?
I mean, just like Josh said, when we started, literally, we would get in me in my wife's room, in this little room, and basically like, on a little table. I had a little table. Like that's how we started. Like Josh said, I guess that's probably the most memorable because that's where we started at, And now it's obviously grown to whatever it is, and it's a lot easier to do. We don't have to be together and all these things, but just coming from literally my room, talking, like Josh said, just talking fantasy football. I think one of our first shows was like reviewing our like local draft with our buddies, like that's how it started. So that's something else might pop up, but for right now, that's just thinking about how we used to do it. We have to get together. We didn't have video. We weren't on YouTube or nothing. It was just, Josh did all the editing, and I think there was one time that I know this happened for sure.
Oh, I know this happened for sure.
We recorded, but we turned the thing off before we turned it on, or something happened. So we had to re-record afterwards. It was the worst.
No, there was one time we recorded and we forgot to turn it off. And we were talking about one of our friends.
Wait,
and
what?
Oh yeah. And then Gerald, our old producer, he posted it. And we were talking all about this one guy I'll text you about off air. And we talk to him all the time. We talk to him almost every day. There's not a day that we don't talk to them about this guy. And then or to this guy. And I was at Universal Studios. Huh? No, I'll tell you after. And we were at Universal Studios. I was at Universal Studios, and the show was up on podcast form, and I didn't have access to take it down. And we literally talked about this guy, not about him, not about our friend, but about the work situation and possibly one of our old bosses, our former bosses, our current bosses.
I kind of remember that. I don't remember exactly what you're talking about, but I kind of remember that
like
situation.
An hour. And I'm like, oh God, like if anyone hears this, I'm thinking, boy, everyone's going to listen to this.
I remember the scenario, but I can't remember who was involved.
It wasn't good. I'll text you afterwards. It has to do with
There's
having
been
kids
some
soon.
bad producer moments that I've had in my lifetime, but I've never messed up that bad. There's been a time where like my wife's podcast, they don't say where they are. They don't talk about people's like out there, and I usually will bleep their location. I'll bleep whatever. And there was one episode I posted, and they have people that listen like that morning that the episode is released, and I didn't bleep a name, and it was a listener, and I'm like, oh. So I had to quickly take the episode down and repost it. But luckily, I was next to my computer and not at Universal Studios. Well,
Fun times.
Topher, you don't have to stick around. It was great having you on. Listen to all of their stories. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you coming on tonight.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for having me, especially on this like inaugural, like not inaugural, this series
Finale.
The series finale.
You know, the series finale right here to be asked as moderator
before the
you know,
spinoff is.
Yes.
Think about it, man. Like,
and
I'm
I'm
thing. Go ahead.
yeah. And
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm the you know, I just kind of subbed in a few times, but you know, I've really appreciated being a part of this the few times that I've have. So thank you for that. And yeah, I'm excited for our next adventure together. I'm excited to be involved in that.
Yeah, we'll definitely we'll obviously be in touch. You'll see Topher out here on Fantasy Now Plus here in the future. But yeah, again, thanks again, Topher, for coming out, moderating, picking Josh as the winner of the Fantasy Awards.
Hey,
it's fine.
I tried to moderate as fairly as I could.
It's fine.
I mean,
we didn't have the best players, but it's fine.
So one last thing before we do get out, because it's been a very long show and it's been fun. We started as just literally in Dave's wife's in his room, literally. And then we met Justin. We joined SIA, right? And then we got a deal, whatever. We actually got paid. Me and Dave actually got literally paychecks or money from Manscaped, which a lot of people can't say that. Seriously, a lot of people can't say that.
Yo, by the way, that code still works. I use it.
OUS,
it still works. 20% off.
Nobody's getting that money, but yeah, just get that 20% off anyway.
Yep. Hopefully we get deals in the future, because that's what I'm saying. Like we did all that. I went to the Senior Bowl, right? I met people. I met you. I met Josh Wingate. I met Bobby. Now we're here on the Fence Talk Sports Network. Like we keep on continually getting better and better and better. And Dave, it's so much fun when you're on the show. I know it's hard for you because especially we go at noon now. I know that. You have a real job and we don't. I get it.
Dave, we have ideas to get you incorporated at noon still, though. So
you guys didn't even tell me you were changing to noon, so I don't want to hear shit from you.
You stopped responding to us.
No, I didn't. I never stopped responding.
No, but you didn't make it till every night show.
I know I didn't make it, but all I know is one day it's like 8:00 and we're all texting. I'm like, wait, why are you not in the show right now? You're like, oh, we do noon now. I'm like, oh, thanks for the update.
No, but we do have ideas to get you on because we want you. We understand you can't do the whole 45 minutes, but if you can do pop-ins on your phone, just like you're doing now, just from your work van, if you can, we want you on. I need you. I can't.
I know I'm awesome. I get it.
Everyone loves you. There was a guy on Reddit.
On this, so it's...
I don't even go on Reddit, and someone on Reddit is asking for.
I don't even know what a Reddit is.
Me either.
I think it's a blog.
But thank you everyone for watching. There's still 64 strong in here. Miss Finns, Bobby Finns. I know you were sorry, dude. I wasn't the host tonight, Bobby, so I couldn't really interact with you, but I'll see you on Saturday night. We're gonna get on out of here. We'll be back. Just keep in touch. I don't know when we'll be back, but we'll be back covering rookies. Dave is yawning, he's dying. I want to go to bed as well. So good night. Peace out. Are you playing the music? I was waiting for you to play the music.
I'm playing the music. I'm playing you out.
Thank you.
For the final time. Give us a good one.
Oh. Bye. We're out.
You still have like 10 seconds.
Oh, I still have 10 seconds?
Oh.
Okay, like and subscribe. No. Bye guys. Thank you for all the love. This is not goodbye. This is I'll see you later.
See you later.
Peace out.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. Follow on X and Instagram at OUSFFPOD. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.